Hello there. Welcome to our YouTube channel, My Project Ideas. And today we are gonna make a movie series application using ReactJS. And the tool we will be using is Next.js, which is nothing other than a framework built on top of React. And now I show you the application. So our movies and series application is gonna look like this, in which we have provided this slider and the training movies and the training series. For example, you click on any movie like John Wick Chapter 4, it will show all the things related to that, like title, rating, release date, and synopsis. And we also have the search functionality in our project, like this. Suppose I want to search a movie like Van Helsing. Okay, so the search area will be populated by the results. So I can click on the first one and it will show all the things related to that. And suppose I want to search a series, then I have to just click on this checkbox. And for example, I want to search about Game of Thrones. And it is populated. Now, if I click on that result, it will show everything about the Game of Thrones, like the number of episodes, number of seasons, and its status, and its rating, and the synopsis. You see how awesome is this? So Next.js is a framework built on top of the ReactJS library, and it provides more additional features to that. So it means you only have to know ReactJS to use Next.js as a tool. So here are some features of the Next.js, like server-side rendering, automatic code splitting, dynamic routes, better SEO, and one of the major features of the Next is it is an all-in-one full-stack framework, and it also have its own router in that, like for React.js or maybe using create React app and any other tool, build tool, we have to additionally download the library called React Router DOM. But in the Next.js, we don't have to do that. Okay, so now I have just created an empty folder for our project named movies verse. Now go to that folder and in the terminal type code dot. To open this folder in VS Code, by far the most popular code editor, you can do it manually too by dragging the folder into the VS Code new window. Okay, so terminal is by default open, but we will for the sake of simplicity, I will go to the terminal and I will click on a new terminal, and now it will open the new terminal. So in the terminal, type the command npx create next app @latest, and now hit enter, and this command will create our new Next.js application. Okay, so I want to proceed. Yes, and it is installing some dependencies. And my project here, I will type my project name called movie verse. Okay, and I'm not gonna use TypeScript. No. And would you like to use ESLint with the project? No. And for the Tailwind CSS, yes, we are gonna use Tailwind CSS. And no, we are not gonna use the src directory for this project. And yes, we are gonna use the app router. And we are also gonna use a default import alias, but we don't want to customize it, so no. Now it will create our next application. Okay, so now our project is ready. Let's see what we got here. So everything we're gonna build will go in this app folder. So we are provided with this layout page and this page.js. And let me tell you what are these things. So now our application is created. We will go into this movieverse folder and particularly in this app folder. So let me tell you that we will have two files, layout.js and page.js. So what are these files? Let me tell you. Page.js is a normal page in our application. Likewise, the slash page route will contain this page. But the layout.js is a layout for our page.js. I mean, every new page you're gonna make in the app folder, its layout will be the same as layout.js. For example, in more simplistic term, I can define, suppose I want to have a navbar and a footer for every page, but I don't want to code them again and again. So that's why I will define the navbar in this layout.js and footer also, and just pass the children between them. And the Next.js will automatically do that work for us. For every page, it will place the navbar on the top and footer at the bottom, just and our page in between. So I hope you understand that. So we have to do a few changes before proceeding making our project. So let's make a new folder called components in our movieverse application, and a new folder called utils for utility functions, and a new folder called styles. So I'm just gonna place this global.css in our styles folder. Beware of the layout.js, which is importing the global.css, and instead we're gonna import styles and then this global.css. And one more thing I want to tell you this is that I'm using autosave is equal to true. So because of that, I don't have to hit Ctrl+S again and again to save our code. Okay, now let's run our application. I open the terminal, and for running our next application, I will tap the command npm run dev. Let's see. Okay, so here it is saying that it has compiled successfully and it is running on the localhost 3000. We will control click on that to visit that. Okay, so our app is running, and now I will go to the URL mentioned here. I will control click on the localhost 3000 and it will open by default our default browser in our PC, and here it is. Let's wait. Okay, so if the screen appears like this, then you can believe that it is working fine. Yeah. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do is just in the page.js, I will remove everything except the main tag. There's a lot of boilerplate written here, and instead I will just type hello world. And now let's just see. Okay, so as you can see, it is reflected here and our app is working. Okay, now just stop the app, and now we will be making our components. Okay, so the next thing is we're gonna remove some extra CSS from our global.css file and select the extra things, and I will keep those 3 lines for the tailwind CSS. Okay, And now I'm gonna add a font called Poppins in my project. So first we should go to the layout.js, and then, okay, as you can see, we are importing the inter font from the next/font/Google. So similarly, we're gonna import Poppins from here. Okay, so here just we remove this enter. Instead, we type Poppins is equal to Poppins, and we'll have an array, and its weight to be 400, and its variable to be named like this, font Poppins, and we will make preload equal to false. Okay, I think our font is ready. Now also we have to change the metadata for our page like this. Here we are exporting the metadata in the layout.js. So I will change the name to movie verse, and the description to be latest movies and series overview. Okay, so now let's define the class for body. I will remove this integer class name. Instead, we're gonna type the template string literals, and here I gonna just make a variable place like here, and I will type Poppins dot class name. Okay, and for body I will give it flex, and flex in column direction, and then height of screen. Okay, but for the layout I will give it a nav tag here, in which our nav components will be residing. It's a nav bar, and the class I'll be giving here is width of full, and padding of in x direction to be 6, and padding in y direction to be 4, and flex, it is flex inside, and I will justify all the items in the nav to be between, and I will align all items to the center. Okay, I think our navbar is ready. So for purpose I can type it navbar, and for the footer we will type footer, and then I will give it a class name of width to be full, and padding of y direction to be 4, and text to be large, and background to be this color, and text color should be white, and margin top will be of 8. By default, the 4 is equivalent to 1 rem in the Tailwind CSS, and the 8 likewise will be 2 rem. So for checking purpose, I will type a name here like movie verse. Okay, now let's run our app. Control click on the localhost 3000. Let me expand this. Okay, so it is giving an error that this pop-in is not found. Let's see how it is working then. So as you can see here, this is the navbar and this is our Movieverse page footer. Okay, so now it is looking like this with the navbar and the footer. Okay, so the text is not in the center in the footer. So maybe I forgot something, like in the footer, in the class name. Okay, text to be center. Now let's check. Yeah, it is looking fine. Text is in the center. Okay, and the next thing is to check, we should remove the class names of the main tag in our page.js. And now it will gonna look like this. Okay, so instead we can give it class name of flex to be 1 so that it will cover whole area between that. Yeah, it's now covering the whole area. Now let's just focus on the navbar first. What should we build in the navbar? And in the navbar we should have a logo and a search button for searching the movies and series. So let's just type a button. Okay, in button I will give it a name of Movieverse. Okay, and next thing is I'll be giving another button maybe. Okay, we'll make another component for that. So just comment it out so that we should not forget about this. Okay, and for the class name of the button to be text to Excel and font to be bold, font bold, and text to be transparent. We are going to give the color to the text and like a gradient like color to the text, so that we have to make the text to be transparent first. And the property for particularly making the text like background is this bg background to be clip and text, and we want our background of gradient to be from left to right or maybe to right. So let's do it. Bg gradient to right. Okay, so our gradient gonna be from red 600. It's a by default inbuilt colors in this Tailwind CSS to okay to pink 900, and I want this button to have flex and gap of 2, or which is equivalent to half frame. Okay, now our button is set up. Let's see how it is looking. Yeah, it is looking fine. Yeah, it is looking fine. Now also we are missing something like a logo thing or a play button. So let's just see. I'm gonna provide all the assets here. So in the public folder, let's check. There are already these logos provided, but we don't need it here. And I'm gonna delete that. Instead, I'll be gonna copy pasting my whole assets folder into this public folder. Okay, so we have pasted those things in our public folder. These two folder, fonts is empty and the assets is containing the icons that we will need throughout our project, and the images. It's just a fallback image for our image component. Okay, let's go to the layout, and here we're gonna define in the button our image. So for image, Next.js is providing the optimized image component already. So we're gonna import that, import image from next image. and we gonna define this image component here, image here. Okay, let's just see. We will okay, we can shrink it to a single component instead of the two tags. A single tag is enough, and we will give it a height of 30 pixels and width of 30 pixels. And we want its source to be, the sources are not imported yet. Okay, we're gonna import. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, that I have provided the link to assets folder or the repo in the description, so that if you are practicing or copying this project, you can make use of that. And for now, we're gonna provide the src to this image, and I'm gonna import as logo from @public assets icons, and its name would be movie icon.svg. Okay, now let's see how it's gonna look. Okay, now we're gonna place this logo in the src. Now place this, and now let's see. Yeah, it's looking fine like this. Okay, so now we're gonna make a search component here, and we will place it here. So first we have to create that component. Now it's time. I think it is a search.jsx. I will use the snippet. Okay, for now it is enough, and we're gonna import it in layout. And now place it just beneath that in the nav. Now let's have a look at it. Okay, yeah, it is appearing here. Now we just have to edit that search bar. Okay, so instead of div, I will make in React fragment here, and I will put a button here, and in that button I will be putting the image component, and we are going to import this image from the next image. Okay, and this image will have height of 20 pixels and width of 20 pixels, and it will have src. We have to import that search icon, okay. And for the button, we will give it a class of rounded to be a little border radius to be large one, and a border, and the border color of border of gray, and that will be 400 and something, and flex and justify content between, maybe center. Yeah, it will look good. And just place the search icon. Yeah. Okay, let's see how it is working. Okay, we also have to give some padding. I think padding of 3 is enough for this. Yeah, it is looking fine. For now, we just only have to do that. We will not focus on its functionality for now. For now, our layout is ready, and let's proceed to make the page.js and how our main page gonna look like. Let's proceed. Let's now make our page. And first of all, here class only flex1. So I will give it also the width of full and padding inline to be 12. So okay, now we will give it a heading of h2 or h1 maybe, and give it a class name of text 5 pixel, font bold, text transparent. I want it to be a gradient, so again repeating bg clip text bg gradient to the right from red 600 maybe to purple 600. I think it will look good. Margin top of 8 and margin bottom of 8. Okay, that's it. And now I will make it to section. Okay, and I will give it the class name of margin bottom of 8 and width to be full, and I will copy it 2 more times. Okay, and here I'm gonna paste any of text like welcome text, and we will replace that later. Now let's just see, is it working or not? Yeah, fine, it's working. Okay, and we also have a p tag here, and I will give it a class name of text extra large and text color to be gray of 700 and margin top, okay, to be 700 and margin top to be 4, and I will align it to text center at first. Okay, I also have to change here it text center. Okay, for the welcome text, I'm gonna make something like a world of movies and CDs with movieverse. Okay, and here I'm gonna place your gateway to infinite entertainment. Okay, let's check. Here it is, looking fine, right? Okay, now in a particular section I'm gonna place a heading which I will give class name of text3xl and margin of y to be 4 and font to be semi-bold and border of left to be 4 and padding left to be 3 and border color to be border color to be yellow and it will be 300. Okay, I will copy this tag 2 more times and place in each section. Okay, now it is looking fine. And for here I will place it now in headers, and for second one I will see trending cities or maybe trending TV series, and in the last one I will place trending movies. Yeah, look fine. Yeah, it is looking fine. And for now I will be making a div in the first section and I will give it a class name of width to be full, padding inline to be 12 and its position to be relative. And in here I'm gonna place a slider component which will swipe the movies one by one in a loop. Okay, for that I will be using an external library called Swiper.js, as it is the most famous and popular library, which is a very efficient one, and I can use it with React and other framework also with the Vanilla.js. I can trust this library because it is trusted by the bigger Fortune 500 companies like McDonald's and these things. I'm not sure about that. Okay, but it is a quite good library. If you want to dig into the details, you can check its documentation. For now, I'm gonna install that library. So simply npm I swiper. Let's wait for its installation. Fine. Okay, so now we will use the swiper in our page. So first of all, let me import it. Swiper from swiper react and a swiper slide. And also I'm gonna import a module of autoplay from Viper. Yeah, looking good. And I also have to import the swapper.min.css in our Next.js. And that's it for now. Now let's place the swiper in our page. Now I will tag the swiper here first of all, and in that I'm gonna place loop is equal to true, autoplay, I will have a delay of 2 seconds, which is equivalent to 2000 milliseconds, and I will set disable on interaction to be true. The next thing I'm gonna put here is pagination. So in pagination, I'll set it clickable equal to true. And the next thing is modules. And I will set here array to autoplay. Okay. And the next is space between each slide is gonna be 10. And slides preview. The slide preview meaning that the number of slides it's gonna show in our application. So initially it would be 4. And next is on slide change. It is only for the testing purpose. And I will console log that slide is change. And final thing I'm gonna put here is on swiper. And I will put a callback in here, which I will pass as swiper. And I will console.log swiper. And now this is also for the testing purpose. And in here, I will be calling swiper slide. Let's see if we are importing it or not. Yeah, we are importing it. So for now, I will just put any random string like hello world. And I will copy it multiple times and see if it's working or not. Okay, it's giving some error. So the error is you are importing the component that needs a create context. It is only work in a client component. Okay. So we have to declare it a client component because it have a state. So now we will declare the page.js to be the client component by using use client string at the top of our page. Now let's see if it's working or not. Yeah, I think it's working. As you can see, the hello world is swiping. So for now, we only have to place this hello world string with a card. Like here I'm swiping, it's also infinite. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now we only have to replace this hello world with our swiper card. And now let's just create the swiper card. Okay, so we have to replace this hello world string with the swipe card. And let's just create the component swipe card. I will create a new component. I'll name it swipe card.jsx. And in that I will be gonna define RAFCE using the React snippet. And in here I'm gonna import next link component. The next link component is something that will just like a link to the other page, and we will also be passing some data into it. Okay, so place this div with link, and I will give it property of href to be path name. And initially the path name is not mentioned, so I will give it slash only. And the second attribute I was going to give it query, and in the query I'm going to pass id to be id, and we are getting this id from the props. And in the props I will be defining a title and rating with release date with image URL and with ID. That's it. These are the only things we will need for our this swiper card. Okay, now let's just create the swiper card. And in the link component, I'm gonna place a div. Okay, before that, I have to give the class name the link component. So in the link component, I will give it a width of 16 rem and a height of 20 rems, and it will be flex, and flex action should be column, and it have rounded edges, maybe rounded corners, sorry, not rounded edges, rounded to be medium, and overflow to be hidden. Yeah, that's it. And in this particular div, I will have two divs, one for the image and one for the content. For the image one, I will give it a height of 72% and width to be full and its position to be relative. And next is overflow to be hidden. And for this div, I will give it a class name of height of 28% and padding of 3 in it, having the flex box and flex direction of column and gap of 2. 2 here signifies half a rem, and padding in y direction to be, actually I have already defined the padding, so padding in y direction to be 2 and padding in x direction to be 3. I have to remove that one because this is not needed here. And inside the first div, I'm gonna place an image, so I will be using the next image component. So let's import that. Import image, and in that I'll be using src to be image URL and layout to be fill. I don't know why it is showing this good. I don't know why it is showing to be this is deprecated. And I will set the layout property to fill and object fit property to contain, so that this image is contained in this whole div, its parent div. I don't know why it is showing this deprecation. Maybe they are deprecated, but for now, for the sake of simplicity, we only have to place this. This will work. Yeah. And second div, I'm gonna place h3 tag, and which will have a class name of font semi-bold. Okay. And next I will have a p tag. There are two p tags. Okay, for now I will be putting a span inside the p tag and also inside this one. Okay, then I will place the title here, and there is some class to the p tag. Okay, there is no class, so I will place the rating here, maybe date of release. I think we have not important. Okay, now I will place the release date here and rating here, and I will be tapping a hard-coded string here and here. Okay, so now our component is ready. Okay, let's create the card component for the trending movie series and trending TV series and trending movies also. So first let me create a movie card. Okay, so I have tapped the snippet here, and in here we are also importing the link tag. And in the link tag we will define href, path name to be page, movie page, path to be movie, and its query to be id, which we are getting from props. So in the props I will get the title, same as the swiper card, release date, rating, image URL, and ID. That's it. That's it for the link tag. And for the class of link tag, to customize its styling, we will have width of 20 grams and height of 12 grams and width border left of 4 and border color to be yellow 300, and its overflow hidden, and it should be rounded from the right edge. Maybe LG. Okay, it's fine. Now let's put the content and the image in our link tag. So I will be creating a div in which I will be giving the class name to be text white. Sorry, not text white. Height. I will giving it a height of 100% and giving it the width of full, and its position to be relative, and overflow is hidden. Okay, fine. The next thing we are going to create is image tag. So it is basically the image of image we are getting from the image URL. So import the image component from the next. Okay, here we are. So its src would be image URL and layout set to fill and object fit property to cover. Okay, so image is also set, and next thing we are gonna create is the content of the particular card. So I will be creating another div here in which I will be placing class name to be text of white and its position to be absolute and its left to 0 and bottom to 0, and then I will give it a background color of black and opacity of okay, I spelled it wrong. Opacity of 40. its background opacity, to be more precise, and padding of 4, which is equivalent to 1 rem, and width of full, and then it will be flex container, and then it will justify the item between and align items to be center. Okay, and inside that particular div I will be having 2 more divs. Okay, so in the first one it will be something like title of the movie which we are presenting through this card. So it will have the class of maximum height of 50%, so that it should not cover whole of the card. Overflow is hidden, and tracking to be wider, so that there should be some space between the letters of the title. And then when the text is overflowed, it should be ellipsis. I mean the 3 dots which show that the text is overflowing. And font to be semi-bold, font weight to be semi-bold, and text size to be medium. Yeah, and it should not cross more than 2 lines, so we are giving it line clamp of 2. So it's a property by which the text should not overflow up to 3 lines. If the text is overflowing from the 2 line, it will hit the ellipsis there. And inside of that div, we will place title here. Okay, now the next one, and inside of this div I'm gonna give the class name of text of small size and maximum width of 50%. And inside that we will be having 2 p tags. First one contain release date, and second one is containing the rating. Okay, and now we're gonna create the series card. So let's add a component named series card.jsx, and it is not different from our movie card, so we will copy all the contents of the movie card into the series card. But there will be some differences, like instead of directing it to the movie page, it will be directing to the series page. Okay, and it will be same, and to differ it from the movie card, we can give it a border of purple maybe. And 600. Yeah, now it will look fine. And next thing we gonna change is its name. It's not a movie card, it's series card indeed. And here also. Okay, now we are set up to bring the data into the page.js. Okay, so the series card is now set. And now what we're gonna do is bringing the data from API to our main page, or maybe the home page. So how can we do that? For that, we're gonna use the TMDB API, aka the movies database. It's the most detailed API ever I have encountered, and it's also free to use for your personal projects. And here you can log in and get your API key. If you logged in or successfully signed up, you can get it from here. Like you can choose whatever you are using. For example, we are using React, so we will choose JavaScript, and you can check the endpoints. But for this project, I have already listed all the endpoints we are going to use. Like in here, now in theaters endpoint, trending movies, and trending series endpoint. So I will provide the link to this text file also. Okay, so I will create the .env file in my project, name it .env, and I will add an environment variable. Okay, so before putting any environment variable, you should have to make sure that this suffix next dash public dash is before your API key or any other environment variable you are adding into the project. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay, so I add my API key and save it. Okay, so now we are set up. And for the next step, for bringing data to our data from API, I will call use effect. So whenever the component mounts, it will populate the data. So it is only for the first time. And here we can define a function called fetch data. Which should be an arrow function, and in the arrow function I will define an option object which we will use in our fetch data method. So the method is get, and headers will be an object in which I will accept application slash JSON type of data, and authorization header will be a string containing bearer space plus process.env dot that environment variable name next public API key. Okay, so now we are set here, and the next step is I'm gonna take is calling the fetch method just beneath the options object fetch. So for fetching, I must use these URLs. For the first one, I will use the now in theater one, and I will place the URL in here and pass an object, sorry, options, and then then callback, promise callback. I will be getting response.json, and then I will still getting response, and I will console logging it into the console of our browser window. And if any error occurred, we will catch that. Okay, now let's test. Just save it and check, and I will refresh it. Okay, just after that, we forgot to call the function fetch data. Now the function is called. Just refresh it. Okay, so we are getting results here. An object and which contain results array and which contain our results. Okay, it is successful. Okay, now let's dig deeper into it. I will copy this fetch function 2 more times because I want to call for the trending movies and trending series also. So just copying it and replacing those URL with that mentioned in my notepad here, and the third one. Okay, now I will save it and refresh it and check it if it is working or not. Okay, so that I will get 3 objects successfully. We are getting the 3 objects. Okay, so now we are getting data. We just have to set the data and populate it on our page. So how can we do that? For that, we will use state variables. For example, I'm defining it here. Now playing, and set now playing is equal to useState hook, which will contain empty array. So make sure to import that one. Okay, set. And now I will copy it 2 more times for the trending movies and trending series. And also for the trending series. Okay, so now we are set. Okay, I also have to set this. Okay, now we are set. Now what I'm gonna do is just set the data whenever we are fetching it. So instead of just console.log response, I will put it in the bracket, and in the next line I will set now playing to the response. And same here, I'll put it in the bracket and set movies, trending movies, sorry, set trending series to response. Just remove that slash here, typo. Okay, just same case in here. On the next line, I'll define the next line, set trending movies to response. Okay, so now we are gonna populate those with our data. So first of all, here, just beneath the h2 tag, we will define a div having the class name of padding inline is equal to 12, width of full, and flex in the container, and flex wrap, so that anything that overflows it will start from the next line, and they will have a gap of 8, i.e. 2 RAM. And for the larger screens, justify star, and for the medium screens, justify center, and for the smaller screen, justify center. Okay, and I will align all the items to the center, that is items center. Okay, now we are all set. Just copy this div into this one because they are similar, right? Inside we will put a dynamic code block in which here the heading is trending TV series, so we will be mapping the series here, trending series, and optional chaining if by any error the training series is not available, then this map will not run. That map current written. So what we have to written here? Absolutely, the series card. Series card. It is automatically imported, and I've defined it here. And now we will pass the props in the series card. First was title. So title, for every series that there is no title, the data we are getting from there is current dot name. Okay, just have a look at it. So there's a title and release date, and let's have a look at it. Rating. Okay, there is a typo. Title, release date, rating, image URL and ID. Title, release date, rating, image URL and ID. Okay, so we just have to put release date, because the series response is not having any release date, it is having the first air date. So we will type first air date, and for the rating we will give current dot vote average, and for the field of the image URL it is I already have defined in that. And for the image URL there is a property named backdrop path in the API. Image URL to be current dot backdrop paths. The image URL to be this one. We are using template literals for that. And in the template literal, the database for the image is here. It will just move to that URL for this particular image. And for the ID, we will have current. Okay, here is the current dot ID. Yeah, we are set here. So let's just see if it is working or not. Okay. Okay, so what is the error here? Okay, it is not working. Guess what? I have placed the response directly in the fetch function, but instead we have to get the first initial 5 or 6 results to populate here. To do that, we will just have to change this response dot results dot slice 0,6. Similarly, I have to copy this and here also. Now our app will be working. Okay, so the error is that image.tmdb.org is not configured in our Next.js. So we have to configure it. So we just have to add it in our next.config.js. So the reason that error was coming was due to that this URL is not configured for the images in our Next application. So to configure this URL in our Next application, we have to go to next.config.js, and in the next config I will type images, and in that object I will define domains to which I want to have access to. So for example, I want to have access to this domain. Now I think our project should work fine. Just refresh it once more. Okay, so that error was fixed and it is working now. Okay, so the next step is same to same. We have to create like this in our training movies. So in the training movies section, we will put a dynamic code block here, and trending movies, optional chaining map, current, and I will return here the movie card. First we will import it, and it is automatically imported. And next we have to provide the props, just like title to be current.title. The response of the movies, trending movies and the trending series is different, a little bit different. So we are providing the title in the series to be current.name, and in the movies we will be providing current.title. And for rating, we will be providing the vote current.vote average. And for image URL, we will be providing the same thing we have provided to our series component. In the string template literals, a URL and its backdrop path. And next is ID to be current.id. And what else is remaining? Let me check. Image URL, rating, release date. Okay, release date to be current.release date. Now let's just see if it's working or not. Okay, looks fine, looks beautiful. Yay, so we have come this far. Okay, I have noticed that somehow the rating is not showing here. So maybe I should check my component of movies card. Okay, again here it is a typo. I will just do it rating and also change here. Now I think it will be fine. Yeah, it's looking awesome. And now the only thing that is remaining is this swiper slide. So instead of these hard-coded swiper slide, we have to place the cards containing the movies that are now in theaters. Okay, so we have already created that swiper card. Instead of this only image tag which will give warning, I should place alternative text in the swipe card we have created before, and that alternative text would be same as image URL, which will be unique to every text. Okay, and also this path name should be movie, same as the movie card, because the composition of the movie card and swipe card is very similar. Okay, so the next step is to use this swipe card in our page.js, where we are using the sliders, this swipe slide. Okay, for this swipe slide we will place, instead of this swipe slide, I will remove it. We'll place a dynamic code block here, and now playing, I will make the now playing.map current element is equal to return, and that swipe card will be used here, like here. It will be automatically imported, and now we will pass the properties or props in the chart. Title will be car.title. Release date would be car.rel release date. Its rating would be car.vote average, and its ID would be car.id. And the last thing is, I think we are forgetting something. Image URL, yeah. Image URL should be, what was that thing? Yeah, this thing. We will put that here. Okay. I think it should work by now. Let's save it and see if it is working or not. Refresh it. Okay, it is giving some kind of error. And what is it? Current is not defined. Okay. So we are using cur here. Every other thing is set at the cur. So what is this current here? So that is undefined. No, it will not be. It should work fine. Okay. So there's a little thing that these things are coming in this order, not that order. Okay, so one thing I forget or almost forgot, that this swiper card should be in swipe slide, right? Swipe slide component should be the children of swipe slide component. So we will pass in between this. Now it should work fine. I will refresh it, and it is still giving me error. Okay, so it is swiper slide, not swipe slide. Okay, we will just place an R. That was a typo. Now it should work flawlessly. Now it should work flawlessly. Okay, so it is working fine. Beautiful. So congratulations if you followed me till now. So this is very beautiful one, and that will be infinite. Okay, so the one thing missing here is that particular search functionality by which we can search any movie and go to that particular movie. And also these are just raw data. Suppose if I want to get the details of this particular movie, if I click on it, it should lead me to the page, but instead it is not doing anything like that. So I should make a separate page for the movie and separate page for the series so that I can show its details. So let's create it. Okay, let's start making the movie page and series page. And after that, we're gonna build the search functionality. Okay, so for making a new page, I will go into the app and I will draw a new folder named movie in it. Similarly, I will draw another folder called series. Okay, and in the movie, I will create a new file called page.js. And similarly, in the series, I will create a new file called page.js. Okay, so the syntax of the page.js is okay, this is a typo. Let me fix that. Okay, so the syntax is gonna similar to this one. Export default function page or maybe home or anything. Okay, let's do this. first we will gonna build the movie page, and I will just export default function movie. Okay, that's it. And everything will follow. So first of all, what we're gonna do here is when we are clicking on a particular movie item or a series item, we are passing the data to the params in the URL. And how will we get those params in this page? So there is a specialized hook defined for that called use params path, use search params. That is the hook that is used to get the params. So let's use it. So first of all, I'm going to import that use search params from next navigation. I'm gonna enclose that, and here I'm going to define params equal to use search params. Okay, so for the data, and every time we're retrieving this ID, then we will query again from that ID to a particular endpoint so that the details of the movie will automatically populated on this page. So let's define a use state hook for the data we will get. Data set data use state. So use state is automatically imported, and it will be an object containing image URL, which will be initially null, and then title, which will be initially an string, random string, or you can anything. Synopsis will be blah blah blah. Okay, and the next thing, rating will be initially 0, and release date, which will be initially a string set to date. Okay, I think that is enough for the initial state. And next thing we're gonna define is a use effect. In this use effect hook, we're gonna define a function to fetch data. Okay, and that will be an arrow function. And now let's define the array. Let's define the options. Const options is equal to an object in which we are going to pass a method, which will be absolutely the get method, and headers, which will be accept type of application / JSON, and the next is authorization, and which will be an string called beer space process .env .next public API key. Yeah, that's it for now. And for the method fetch, we will fetch that URL here. So I have already copied this URL. For a particular movie details, we want to get to this URL. Okay, so let's place this URL here, and together with the options, Okay, that URL should be in template string literals. So let me place it here. I don't know why it is like that. Okay, let me fix that. The space will give error. Okay, looks fine. Now options. We'll pass the options here. It is giving some kind of error. I don't know what is it. Okay, so there was no error, and we will pass the options here. The options, it is not detecting or what? Yeah, that's good. And we will use the promise callback dot then, which have response, and we will return response dot json and dot then again response will return console log response, and if any error, then we will catch it there. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, the one thing I want to mention that this thing is called in this object, but it should out of that. It should be out of that. That's why it is giving error. It should be in the use effect instead. I'm sorry, it should be in the fetch data function instead. So just after the defining the fetch data, we will call the fetch data function. Okay, and we will be setting those data, this data one here, like console log response, and then set data equal to a new object which will contain image URL to be response dot image URL. Okay, let's get the image URL last. So title will be response dot title, and let's get all the fields here. Okay, initially the title will be the title, and whenever the API is called, it will be response dot title, and the synopsis will be response dot overview, and the rating will be response dot popularity, or maybe the vote average you can place here, because this is something else. And the release date should be response dot release date. That's how we are getting it from the backend or the API. And for the image URL, we have to just copy from the page.js that particular page.js from that particular URL like thing where we are setting those data. Yeah, it have a specialized URL for the database of images in it. So in here we will place this. Okay, so it is going to be template string literals. Instead of the current.backdrop path, we will replace current with response. Yeah, looks fine. So the next thing is, okay, don't forget to place empty array here so that it would be called only single time whenever the component mounts. And now it's time to make our component. So written, I will make a div here, and I will have two more divs in it. and one for the image and one for the content. Okay, so the next thing is we should give this div some styling. So first div is containing an image, the image component by the next. So don't forget to import it. I will import the image component from the next image. And this image, I should raise it to a single component. I think it's not containing anything, that's why. So for the src, I'll be giving it the name of okay, it should be conditional, right? I will place a dynamic code block here, and if the data.image URL is present, then if the data.image URL is present, then I will render an image component. Let me fix that, and I will render another image component. Okay, so this will be the fallback image, and this will be our main image. And for the fallback image, I should import that image from the assets folder. Import fallback image from public slash assets slash images slash okay, I forgot that spelling. In the assets, in the images, canyon dot jpeg, that jpeg format of image. So I will place this here. src will be a fallback image, and its alternative text will be fallback image, and its layout to be fill, and its object fit contain property to be cover. Okay, that's it for now. Similarly, we're gonna copy these things for our main image also, but instead of the fallback image, I will write here data.image URL. Looks fine. Okay, let's give some styling to our image div. So it should be relative at first. It should be position to relative, and its height should be 20 rem. Okay, I think I missed something. Its height should be 20 rem, and its width should be 20 rem. And on the medium screens, its width should be, okay, I think 20 rem. Okay, I think I have forgot something. No. And on the small screens, its width should be full, I think. And on the large screens, its width should be 20 rem, similarly. And we'll give it a border radius of large, which I will give it the rounded large, and its overflow is hidden, so that image should not overflow the div. We also have to give our image some styling also. We also have to give our image some styling for a very beautiful effect. Class name, and on hover, whenever we hover on the image, we should scale it to 140. I think 140 is not allowed in Tailwind. Maybe 125. Yeah. and here should be transition, which will be transition all, and duration of transition should be I will define it explicitly like 10,000 millisecond, which is equivalent to 10 rems, 10 seconds, sorry. Okay, and the next thing is it will be ease in out. So that's the kind of animation it can perform, and I think that's it. And the same class name I'm gonna copy in this image tag also. So our image is ready. Let's give the parent div some styling, and here I'll be making it the flex box, and width to be full, and its height to be full, and padding in the X direction should be 5%, and gap of 4 between its children, and flex wrap, so that if the flex box overflows, it should start from the next line, and its overflow should be auto. So whenever the overflow occurs, it should be scrollable. That's why. Okay, the next thing is we have to style our content, and let's style the content div also. So let me give it a class name like in the largest screen it will be flex of 1, and the medium screen also it is gonna be the flex of 1, and on the small screen it should be having width of full, and padding in the X direction should be the 4 or equivalent to 1 rem, and flex in the column direction, and gap of 3, I mean 0.75 rem between its children. And the next thing I'm going to define is a heading. I think it should be the h3, and the h3 I'm going to give it some styling like text 3 times larger, and text should be transparent, and pg clip text. For your information, I'm giving the gradient color to the text, so its background should be a gradient, and it should be from left to the right. Okay, the color starting is from red 600 to purple 600. Yeah, and that's it. It should be having the font bold, and margin of left side should be equivalent to 1 rem or maybe 4. Yeah, that's it. And in that h3 tag we gonna define the title like it's like this title. In the dynamic code block I will place the data.title here. Okay, so the next thing is we will have another div child in it, and in this div child we're gonna have height of 5 rem and width of 5 rem. Actually, I think I'm forgetting something. Okay, so now let's make a div for our progress bar. Here we're gonna define our progress bar. So for that, I have to npm install react circular progress. Actually, I'm not sure if its spellings are correct. So let me check. Okay. So as you can see here, it is taking some time. So 2.40, 2 lakh downloads per week. It's quite huge library, I think. And you can check its documentation or its repo. So everything is defined here, how to use it, and you can, if you are interested more in this, then you can check the docs too. So let's give it a start. So I'll be using this command in our project. Okay, let it install. Okay, let's run our project again. And the next thing is we'll place the progress bar here. And how are we gonna do that? Okay, so I'm gonna copy pasting these things. Import the circular progress bar from the React circular progress bar and import the corresponding CSS file here. Okay, so one thing I want to mention that since we are using the states hooks in this page, so don't forget to define that it is a client component. Yeah, I think this one. Fine. Let's define our progress bar here. It should be circular progress bar. Same as here, circular progress bar. Okay, I think I have a spell mistake. Okay, now it's fine. And the next thing is we have to make it a standalone component, and next thing is we have to pass the text, and in the text it's gonna be dynamic, and the template string literals I'll pass data dot rating, and which is out of the 10. Yeah, that's it. And for the value, its value should be data dot rating. I think it's a spelling mistake again, it's a typo. Data dot rating multiplied by 10, that because we will be getting the rating in decimal form of 1 to 10. So let's fix this rating. Similarly here also. Okay, and also fix, we will not be getting this popularity, instead we will be getting vote average. Now our component looks fine. Okay, so let's give it some styling. Its height should be 5 rem, width should be 5 rem, and margin of left should be 1 rem, which is equivalent to 4 in the Tailwind CSS. And I want its text center. If any. Okay, so the next thing is I will put in another div here, and in that div I will have a heading h3, which will be for synopsis. Okay, and in the dynamic code block, okay, it is here, and I will be giving it a class name called sorry, no class name here. And there's a span tag called let's define another div in which I will be giving it text start and margin left to be 1. I will copy it multiple times, and here I will define the rating, and rating will be a dynamic code block in which I will be giving data dot rating, and in here I will giving it date of release, and it will be something like data dot release date. Okay, and the next div which will have text to be extra large and font bold and margin left to be 1 rem or 4. You can use both, and in here we will have a h3 tag in which I will be using okay, so here the h3 tag, I should change this bigger one here to h1. Yeah, so in this h3 tag we will have a synopsis. Instead of h3 we can have here h2, and next we have a span, and in the span the styling will be text small and font medium, and in here dynamic code block I will be placing data dot synopsis. Okay, so finally our component is page is ready. Okay, let's see if it's working or not. For example, in the component we have already defined we are transitioning to the page, movie page. If I click, this image will appear. Okay, so something wrong with that. I think its positions should be relative, but here this, okay, it is typo. It's relative. It should be relative. Let's save it and check if it's working or not. Yeah, fine, it's working very beautifully. So as you can see, this is a circular progress bar. Here is the image, and that is the hover effect, beautiful hover effect we have given to the image. And the next thing we're gonna do is the same for our series component. Just copy all these. So I will copy all these things, and similarly in the series component I will paste it here, but in the series we'll be getting different data. Okay, so now we have copied our code into the series page also, and the only difference is this: we have to add some extra fields here, like number of seasons, which initially equal to 0, and number of episodes, which is initially equal to 0, and finally status, which will be an empty string. Okay, so whenever we are getting the data from our page, I mean the series page, then we can set them here. So instead of title, I will set it to the name, and the overview will not change, root average will not change, release date will change to first air date, and the next thing is number of episodes. Okay, the number of episodes will be equal to response dot number of episodes, and number of seasons will be response dot number of seasons and status will be response dot status. Yeah, that's it. So now we can check whether it is working or not. And also one thing I forgot to mention, that we have to replace this URL also for the series. Okay, instead of that, we will place this URL. And as you can see, there is only change of movie and TV string in here. So yeah, we can replace this with TV. I will control save it. And now we will check it is working or not. Let's refresh this. Okay, then things are loaded. Now I will check this one. Silo. Fine, it is working perfectly. But we have to add 2 extra fields here, like the number of seasons and the number of episodes and status. Maybe 3 extra fields. So we can add them here. So instead of data.release date, number of episodes, and instead of data release date, number of seasons, and one more field, status. Just change the bit of a string also. It is changed to status. And it will be changed to number of seasons, and that will change to number of episodes. And now check one last time that it is working or not. Okay, it is fine and working. Let's see if it is responsive or not. Now currently it is performing well and it is completely responsive. Yeah, fine. Okay, till now we have made this complete home page, which is quite very attractive and also beautiful. And this automated slider is also giving a very beautiful look and aesthetics. So now the only thing left is search the movie of your choice, or for example, you have remembered a movie name and you can type it in here and can find which movie you want to search or see, those ratings and details you want to see. Okay, so now we should make our search component complete. So I will go to the search.jsx and the components, and the next thing I'm gonna define a state called it's something toggle state. So I will name it like that. It is visible or set visible, and it will be equal to use state, which will be initially false. Okay, and then I will define a dynamic code block just below the button, and inside it, if visible is true, then I will conditionally render that div, and this div will have styling like this, which is of fixed position, and top equal to 0 and left also equal to 0, and its height will be complete, its height will be full as the size of the screen, same the width screen, and its z index will be, I will explicitly define as 99, and it will be a flex container, and its items will align to center, and justify all the children between. Okay, no, not between, center. Okay, and also I want to give it some blurriness to the background, so that I can type backdrop blur, not 0 but large. Yeah, that's it for this container. And the next thing is I'm going to define this another container in this container, and in here I will be giving it some styling called width of 23 rems and height of 35 rem, and its background will be white, and its corner will be rounded, rounded extra large should be fine. Yes, and it will have the padding of 4 inside that, and its position should be relative, and it will have shadow to extra large, and it's a flex container, and its direction will be flex in the column, and the gap between the children will be 2, and align all items to the center. Okay, now it is looking good. And inside this div I will have a button which will be having a class name of absolute, and its top will be 0 and sorry, not 0, 2, and right will be 3. Yeah, it will look fine. And inside that I will bring the image, next image component. So we should import that, right? Import image from the next image. Instead of this whole, we can give it a single standalone component, and we just have to pass the src. But for the src we don't have anything here, so we must have a cross icon so that we can exit this thing. So let's put this cross icon from @public folder, assets folder, and icons. I don't know this, what was the spelling, so let me check. In the assets and the icons, it was a cross icon .svg. So let's do it. Cross icon .svg. Let's check in. Okay, the spelling is not wrong. Okay, so we will define here cross icon. I will give it a height of 20 pixels and width of 20 pixels, and its alternative text will be cross icon. Okay, and the next thing is our search bar. So for the search bar I will define another div which will have styling like this. Its width to be full and margin top to be 8, which is equivalent to 2 ems, and inside that we will define an input, okay, which will be type text also, and it will be autofocus. Whenever we bring this component in the front of us, its focus will be automatically set to this input. Okay, so its placeholder will be search ... or maybe, and I will give it some styling. Whenever it is focused, so whenever it is focused, its outline will be none, so that will not generate the default border color of your browser into this input whenever you are typing something in the input box. So that is an issue, we have to handle it, and we already handled it. And its width should be 90%, and padding in the x direction should be 3, padding in the y direction should be 2, and rounded its corner around it, and it will be 3xl, I think. Yeah, we'll get a border, and its border color gray, which will be 600. Gray 600 is no, 600 not 500 is better. Okay, so we have defined our button to exit and also the input, and now we have to define the checkbox. For that I will have another div, and so that I will have another input For the checkbox, it will not be of the type text, it will be of type checkbox. And next, it will have the class name. No, it will not have any styling. Instead, what we can, okay, it will have the styling. Let's give it a styling. It will be only cursor pointer, so that our cursor should not miss the checkbox. And let's give the div some styling. It will be of the flex container, and the gap between its children will be 3. Yeah, look good. And next I will define a span. In the span I will have is TV series, because it is a checkbox. So let me show you. So our search component is going to look like this cross here, and this input bar here, and this checkbox here. So whenever we want to query anything, we will type in the search box, and then it will query. So when your typing is finished, it will automatically generate a query. So no result is displayed till if there is no result and your query is not successful, and all the results will be populated here in this space. Okay, so after this checkbox, we will have our another div. So this div is going to contain our whole search results. That's why we will give it a style to be of its corner will be rounded in the LG, and width will be full, and its flex type, it have flex 1. Basically it means it will cover the whole remaining area, and its overflow will be auto, so that whenever the cards overflow this div, it will automatically be scrollable. So inside that we will have a dynamic code block in which the data we are fetching from the API will be mapping here. So currently we are not fetching any data. So let's handle the checkbox first. So how do we handle the checkbox first? So for that, okay, so for the checkbox, we should have a state variable. So let's define it. It will be is checked and that is checked. It will use state absolutely, and it will be initially false. Okay, so let's get back to the checkbox, and in here I will define checked to be conditionally is checked equal to is checked, and on change I'm going to define a callback function in it. Set is checked to be not is checked. I mean the inverse of the previous value. So it will look like this. Okay, so we are done with the checkbox. So whenever our input change, we will be passing an event here, and we'll be calling another function dot query results, and we will pass the value of event here, e dot target dot value. The value will be flexible in this. It is not a controlled component. So let's define this query result function. It will be an arrow function, absolutely, and in that this query result function will make sure that whenever you're going to type anything in the input box, it will return the results related to that. But for that, we should also have to check it is not going to call this function every single time we are going to type, because on change will trigger the event every single time we're going to change the input box. So that's why too many API calls will load our project, and it can also lead to some inconsistencies with it. So that is not good. So what we gonna do here is apply concept of debouncing. So what the debouncing is, so in this concept of debouncing, so whenever you're gonna type anything in the input and it will not gonna API, it will not gonna call the API just after that. It will wait for your complete input, and if you have typed completely, then it will call the API. Yeah, that is the concept. Okay, for that, in the input box on changing, we are passing our query here. So the next thing we're gonna do is let's define an variable which is initially undefined, that is filter function, filter timeout. Okay, and next thing we're gonna do is, if we don't have any query, I mean the input box is empty, and then it will simply return. And before that, we have to check, no, okay, we will simply return if there is no query. And the next thing is, we will assign this filter timeout to set timeout. It is an asynchronous function, and we will pass an arrow function here with 600 millisecond time gap, and inside of it we're going to call our API for our particular query. So for that, I will define the options here, which is similarly for every API call like this. It will have method, it will be get, and for headers it will have a accept, which will be application slash JSON, and next is authorization, which will be bearer space plus process dot env dot next public API key. Okay, that's it. That are the options, and now let's call the API. That we have fetch. So I have already copied this string for the query. Let's copy it, and for the fetch we will be copying it here and pass the options in it. Okay, it is looking good. So basically that checkbox, when it is checked, so is TV series is true. So if that is TV series state is true, then it will be placing this TV string instead of the movie string. Otherwise it will place this movie string. So whenever the checkbox is TV series is checked, it will only search for the series in the search. Otherwise it will search for the movies. Okay, so the next step is the promise then, in which we will be getting response, and it will return response dot JSON, and another dot, then it will have response and it will return console. Okay, code block in which console.log response. Okay, and finally a catch block if any error occurred. Just console.error that particular error. Okay, now I think we are done with this. Not completely, but yeah, almost. So whenever this timeout function is called, it will be not cleared out instantly. So that will induce another problem that every timeout will be called. So whenever you are tapping in the input, every single time this timeout will be called. So respectively, we have to clear that so that there will be only one API call just after finishing our typing. So for that, let's clear interval or clear timeout. Yeah, it will be filter timeout. Okay, now we are set for this. Okay, one thing I forgot is so whenever we are toggling between, so I just remember we are not doing anything whenever we clicking on the search button. So on click will be another function which will set visible equal to true, and wherever we are setting that is equal to false. Okay, there is a typo here. So we are setting it on this cross button, right? On click, we will be giving it set visible to false. Okay, now just look at it, how it's looking. Okay, it is saying that you are importing a component that needs use state. Okay, so we forgot to define the use client in our project because we are handling the multiple complex states in this. So you must not forget to define use client at the top of our component. Just save it, and now let's see. Okay, what is here again? The name image is defined multiple times in the search.jsx. So we have imported it multiple times. Okay, let's remove it. Reload it. Okay, the page is looking fine now. So let's click on this. Yeah, it's working great. But as you can see, this input is not, its corners are not curvy enough. So let's make them curvy. For that, we will go to the first div, no, second div in which the input is defined. And okay, so I got the fix of the problem. The all thing we were doing is this typo. It's rounded, not rounded. Okay, just fix it. Now it will be fixed. Now let's click on this. Yeah, perfectly fine. And now let's just check if we are getting any data by typing anything. Like I will type a movie name called John Wick. Okay, it is giving some error. Let's see what is it. Okay, so is TV series is not defined. Yeah, we have to define that also. So what I got here is whenever is checked. So is checked is similar to is TV series. So this is TV series must be replaced by is checked. So now I think it should work fine. Let's check it. So I will type John Wick here, and it will let's see, we are getting any results. Okay, so we are not getting any results. And why is that? I'll type again. Okay, we are getting the result. There is it. It will result in array related to that movie, particular movie. Yeah. So we are receiving the results. Okay. So what we are going to do now is to populate that data in there, right? So how could we do that? So first, to populate the data, we gonna make a component, a search card component in which our populated data come in the format of the beautiful cards. So let's define a component called a new file called search card.jsx. Similarly, we're gonna define REFCE, which is React snippet for the React arrow function component export, and then we're gonna define the card. So in this search component, we're gonna define the props first. In the props, there will be an set visible function, and set is visible function, and then title, and then release date, image URL, and ID, and finally path. So this path is something that we gonna direct to, whether it is a movie or it's a series. So okay, let's import the link component here, the next link component, and we'll replace this div by the link. Okay, and for the other attributes, I will pass these hrefs, and in that I will pass another object with the path name, which will be same as path we are getting from the props. And in the query, we will be getting the ID, which we are getting from which we are getting from the props. Okay, and the next thing is class name. Okay, it should be outside it. Let's give some styling to the link tag, and for the styling, there should be width of full, and flex, it should be a flex container with a height of 8 rems, and it has border single and border bottom. Okay, we don't need this border here, so we will have the border bottom, which is in short, it will have border B, and border color will be black, border B black. Okay, now it should look fine, and when on hover, it should give the background color of yellow 300. Okay, the styling for the link is done. And in the particular link, we will have another div. Let's give this div styling. Okay, so let me define why I define the div here. This div is for image and this div is for the content. And in this div, we'll give it some styling, and it will be width of 40%, and we'll have height to full, and we'll have overflow hidden, and also its position as relative, because its position is relative because it will containing our image component. So now let's import the image component also. Import. Okay, now I will place a dynamic code block here, and I will set if we have the image URL, then just render the image component. Okay, let me make it good enough, and its src will be, I have already copied the string, so this string will be like this, which we are getting from the props. This image URL we are getting from the props, which is not other than the backdrop path, and its layout will be fill, and its object fit property will be contain, and its alternative text, which we should not forget, is image URL. Okay, Okay, so let's start from the next line because it's a ternary operator. I will place another image tag here. In which src will be a fallback image. So let's import that fallback image also. @public/public/assets/images/canyon.jpg. Okay, so we'll pass it here. Fallback image. It will have the same layout as layout fill, but object fit property will be different, like cover. And for alternative text, it is called fallback image. Okay, so our image is ready, and for our content, let's give the box some styling. So it will be width of 60% and will have padding left of 2, which is equivalent to half rem. Text should be aligned on the start, the start of the box. Padding in the y direction should be 2. It should be a flex container. Flex direction should be in the column, and justify content to center. Okay, and now I will place the 2 p tags. Okay, just place the one initially, and other one we will copy, and I will give it some styling, and styling this text to be small and overflow clip, and just copy it. Now let's place the things we need to place here. In the first one, I will place this title and this release date. So the title is in the dynamic code block title, and its release date will be this release date. Okay, so when we are setting this where are we using this function? So whenever we gonna search or we gonna click on this search card, this will call the set is visible, because if we not call it, then the search component is always visible throughout the every page. It is not set to invisible again. That's why we are calling it. So just like that, I'm going to call onClick function on the link component, and in this I will pass another arrow function which will set is visible to be false. Okay, our search card is ready. Now let's place it in the search component. Okay, so we have finished making our search card. Now let's map it in our search component. In the search component, first we're gonna check if we have the data. So first of all, I think we have to define the data state. So let's define it. It will be gonna equal use state, and in that we'll initially have an empty array. So we are gonna set this empty array equal to this response dot results, that data response dot results. Okay, we only want to set those initial results, initial 6 to 7 or 10 results. Okay, basically we will do that in the mapping. In the mapping, we're gonna do, if we have the data, initial data, and then we will map the data dot slice from 0 to 10, initial 10 results dot map, which there will be current, and for the current one we will have to written this search card. Okay, the search card is automatically imported for me. Make sure to import it. Okay, in the search card we will pass the props now. Now set is visible to be set is checked, set visible, and then we will have title. Okay, the title, let's check if we are passing it here or not. Yeah, we are passing here. So the title would be cur.name if it is a series, otherwise cur.title if it is movie. So what is some error here? Oh, this comma one. Okay, the next thing is release date. So for a series, it will be cur.first air date, and for the movie it will be cur.release date. And for image, I will be passing cur.poster path. And for ID, I will be passing it cur.id, which is same for both the movies and series. And the path, finally the path, which is if is checked means is TV series, then we will pass slash series, otherwise we're gonna pass slash movies slash movie. Okay, so finally it is done. Now let's check if it is working or not. Okay, so we forgot to mention in heading, because if there is no data, what should happen? Because this is a ternary operator, absolutely. So if there is no data, we will define an h3 heading here, in which I will gonna give some styling, which will be text center. Sorry, I'm a little clumsy sometimes. And it will be margin top of 8, which is equivalent to rem, and I will display no result. Okay, now it should work fine. Let it refresh. Okay, all the things are called, and let's click on that, and I will type in a movie name called Avengers. Let's see if there result or not. Yeah, so it is populated by the results. So as you can see, it is looking very awesome. So all are here results, and if I'm gonna click on this particular one, it will lead me to this page and display every detail for this movie together with the poster. Awesome. And also, if I'm gonna just check this is TV series and I want to search for the Witcher, okay, then it is populated again with the movie series. I will click on that and it will tell me everything about this series. By far the Witcher is my favorite one. Okay, I think I have to go give some padding from the right here. Yeah, so let's give it. In the search card, in the text, here, so padding left is 2. There should be padding right also. Padding right should be 2 also. Okay, instead we can just place this left by X, so it will be the inline padding. Let's see if it is looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Enough spacing. Okay. So that's it. So that's it for this project. Yeah. If you follow till now, then you rocks. This project is very beautiful and complex with a good UI and this good throttling functionality. I hope you have understood the whole code base, and for the more such content, subscribe to our channel, My Project Ideas.